Hey everybody, Tim here with today's review of Doctor Who, story number 78, Genesis of the Daleks. Man, this is a powerful episode. It's really well done. It's a fantastic story. 6 episodes long, which, as I've said before, is too long for me. And I'm not even going to lie, I really like this story. If you cut just one episode down, just cut it down to 5, probably would have been that much better. I think it would have improved it, because there is kind of a lot of filler stuff thrown in there. But that being said, it's very well done. So from the last episode where we saw the team, let's see, first they were on the Ark, and then they went down to the Sontaran, and they were about to go back to the Ark, but they basically got plucked out. And then we see a Time Lord talking to the Doctor, and he's like, so, we've decided we want to send you back in time and erase the Daleks from existence. And the Doctor's just like, what? And they're like, yeah, so we're like, this is our plan, is to just completely erase them from ever being created. So the Doctor goes back, Harry and Sarah show up. Like I said, the first thing that they do is step on a landmine. It's great. It's fantastic tension and stuff. You cut that scene out, you don't miss anything. But it's really kind of interesting where he's got his foot on the landmine. We meet some Thals. They don't look like Thals that we've seen before, which granted, this is thousands, maybe millions, I don't know if they actually say, of years before we have ever encountered them. But so the Thals still kind of bother me. For whatever reason, anytime I see a Thal, I actually think of the Peter Cushing movies where they're silvery blue. That's what I always think of. I love the scene where it's turn out your pockets. And he's just he's just pulling stuff out for days. And he's just here you go, here you go, here you go. And he's like, so they're the Thals. Who are you guys? And he's like, oh, we're the Collids. Seriously? That's the best you could do? I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not a famous writer, but when we first saw the Thals, it was the Thals and the Dolls. And to go from doll to Dalek, okay, fine, you got me. But that actually left huge amount of space. What if the Thals created their own? So then we got the Thals and the Dolls, and they created the Daleks and the Thaleks. I would have loved it. I would have been actually really okay with that. But now we've gone from the Dolls to the Collids, because they switched the D and the K. Nobody's going to notice. Okay, whatever. So we meet Davros. That is an important thing. This is one of those, pinnacle Doctor Who moments. A huge one is when we first meet the Daleks. Another, when we first meet the Cybermen. When we first meet the Master. To meet Davros is huge. We'll see him again through the years. We'll see him again in New Who. There's all sorts of stuff. To actually meet Davros. And no, this is that episode. It's huge. And that is an amazing step. So I'm really excited for that. And he already has the Daleks made. So again, this episode, or the story, kind of annoyed me a little bit, because the whole point is the Time Lords sent him to erase the Daleks from existence. They're already here. Why didn't we go back further to when Davros was a child or something? A little spoiler for New Who. But let's just go back in time even further. So, I don't know. That just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like this whole story had a great premise, but parts of it were not thought out 100%. So we meet Davros, we find out that he has extended or whatever, made it so that we know what the Collids are going to look like in the future and how they're going to evolve. And that's what's inside the Daleks, is the future evolution of the Collids. Okay, you're stretching here, but okay. So let's see. God, I don't even know. There's so much. They destroy the dome, which is interesting. The exterminate. I loved when we actually see the Daleks do the extermination, because they go back to that photo negative, the black and white, which, I don't know. I feel like we haven't seen that in a really, really long time. the whole scene where Davros is just grilling the Doctor, and he's just like, how are the Daleks defeated? And he just has to give him all of this information. Well, in the year 2000, this happens. In the year 16,000, this happens. And just goes and goes. And is able to escape and destroy that tape. So I think that was kind of cool. To see them being attacked by the Daleks, okay. And then, well, no. So when we finally get to that point where the Doctor has to go in and destroy the Daleks, and then, like, the big, like, cliffhanger is he comes out and he's being strangled by one, and they're like, get off there. And it's like, I mean, it's a good cliffhanger, but, like, that's the best, like, way out of it you could do, is just kind of knock it off of him. But it's one of the most incredible scenes, and it just shows how amazing Tom Baker is. Because a lot of people think he's kind of goofy and eccentric and kind of weird, but then it's moments like these when he has the two wires and he's like, if I touch these two strands, an entire civilization will be destroyed. Do I have that right? And he's just questioning his own morality. Like, if you could go back in time and kill baby Hitler, I mean, it's a defenseless baby. It's not going to do anything. It's not that hard. But, like, what could be the ramifications of that? So it's really kind of interesting. And even the Doctor is like, I mean, what about all of the people who were at war but, like, came together in a peaceful way to defeat the Daleks? Like, what about that? And it's really interesting, the fact that he's sitting there questioning, and they're like an inch apart. Like, do I have this right to do this? And even Sarah's like, yeah, just do it. And then the thing that always gets me about this story, and I don't even remember how they fix it. So, and don't spoil it for me, because I know it'll come up sooner or later. But when the Daleks actually kill Davros, and I'm like, wait, if they killed him, how does he show up again? Like, I have no memory of how he comes back. I know he comes back, but I don't remember how. So it'll be exciting to be like, oh yeah, that's right. So, but the fact that they kill Davros, and then they just, like, they use the time ring and escape, and they're like, well, shit, we done messed up. Poof, we go back in time. So the whole mission was a failure. Which, I mean, it's a really interesting backstory, and we learn a lot about the Daleks. Kind of makes this whole story a little bit pointless, just because, I mean, nothing really happens. The Doctor doesn't change anything. He doesn't, if anything, he makes things worse, because now Davros knows who he is, and that's part of the, like, Davros is like, okay, now I'm hunting you, and that's why we see him again. So I feel like the Doctor only made things worse rather than better in this whole story. So I don't know. I do really like it. I do think it's interesting, but I do have a lot of problems with it at the same time. So I'm curious what everybody else thinks about it. Go ahead, let me know, and I will see you guys next time for Revenge of the Cybermen.